Hi everyone, this is Reki and welcome back for episode 6 of On Point in West Point. I'm here with Emily and we are starting day 2. She has just woken from a slumber in this nifty chair that we got for her yesterday. And we haven't done any renovations to the building yet. We haven't worked on her carpentry. We have, however, had a reasonably successful day 1 where we picked up quite a few items and materials that I didn't want to do that. I didn't mean to open the window. I want to open the curtains here. All right. We managed to get a vehicle. We managed to find a water truck, of all things. We secured the safe house. As you can see, we got some curtains on the windows. We got ourselves set up with a microwave and a coffee pot so she can eat. We stuffed the refrigerator with a fair amount of food. I went through and cleared off some shelves and organized some things. We actually found a sledgehammer, although I'm trying to remember where I actually put it. Oh, and it sounds like the TV's going. So let's go upstairs and have a look at what's on the TV. I have the True Actions mod installed, and that allows me to have the characters sit, which actually does seem to improve their mood and allow them to rest a bit when they're tired. So that's, I find, extremely useful, and I like it better than the fact that you have a chair, but you still have to sit on the floor. That just bothers me for some reason. And actually, is the TV on? TV's not on. That's the radio that's going. So let's see if we can pick up something on one of these other channels. There we go. TV's now working. One of the things I'd like for us to do, if we haven't already, is find the emergency broadcast channel. That channel is unique for each game, so even if you have a radio, you don't necessarily know what the frequency is going to be for it. What you have to do is hunt for other radios until you find one that someone has set to the emergency broadcast channel. And then once you know the frequency for your game, you can set any radio to that frequency and receive the emergency broadcast once per hour. The reason you want to get the emergency broadcast, if you can pick it up, is because it will tell you the daily weather, so you will know what days it's good to loot, what days it's good to build. It will tell you when the helicopter is coming. It will tell you in advance of the power grid going down. It really can be very useful over time, so I recommend that you get it as early on as possible, because the later you get it, the less useful it can be. Alright, I'm going to fast forward through some of these newscasts, and then we're going to see if we can get lucky enough to pick up something on life and living. I like to wake the characters up 10 minutes before the broadcast at 6 a.m. and I usually will put them to bed shortly after the midnight broadcast. So it's imperative that, especially in the early days, you get a good sleeping chair or bed, something of that nature, to give them, to maximize the quality of the sleep that they're going to get, because they're going to get limited sleep in early days. Alright, so it looks like we've got an ad. Hopefully we'll get some not entertainment TV. Life and Living seems to be the only channel that actually runs skill TV. Sometimes you get exposure survival, sometimes you get the cooking show, sometimes you get Car Zone, sometimes you get Woodcraft. All of those are skill shows. The cooking show. So hopefully that'll give us some good skill for cooking. And look at that. Just see how fast that went up? Almost 2 levels. Just from watching TV. Oh, we did get 2 levels from watching TV. Look at that. Crept through level 2 already and on the way to level 3. This is why I like TV early on, so you can get some levels in things much more quickly than if you are reading books. Books are a much slower way of leveling. Plus, you have lowered boredom. If there's music, the character will have lowered unhappiness, increased happiness. Pardon me. And those things can really add up because right now she's hungry. The last thing we need is a debuff for her being upset or bored or whatever. And the more bored a character is, the more unhappy they are. I think that pause was on when we came in. Oh, no. At least we'll get an ad on. Oh, and Hug Bunnies. And see her boredom is going down. So it pays to even watch the kids' TV because it really helps to keep your character's mood up. And if music is involved, it will also keep their happiness up, usually. Just a word about TV here. You're going to get your news on Triple N and WBLN. Life and Living is going to have your skill TV. Turbo's going to have shows for entertainment. And Pause will have shows for entertainment. Although Turbo also sometimes carries news. So sometimes they'll carry a Triple N report. I'm going to turn the radio off upstairs because all of the radios use batteries. So we want to preserve our batteries. While we're on power, it doesn't matter if the TV remains on all the time or not. And despite having these curtains open, it is still really dark in the bar. So we're going to go ahead and turn the lights on. All right, so I was in the process of searching for the sledgehammer because I know we got one. And I want to make sure that I keep an eye on where it is. I might have left it out in the car because occasionally you need it to break into different locations. So, for example, breaking into certain doors at the police station or breaking into the doors at the gun shop behind us. All right. It looks like the sledgehammer is probably still out in the car. Okay, so let me pause for a minute and let's figure out what we need to do today. We have a reasonably good piece of furniture for her to sleep in. It would be better if we could get her a bed, but we can't until her carpentry is up over level 2 and her carpentry is at a 0. So that's one vote for getting carpentry up quickly. Additionally, carpentry needs to be level 6 for you to build stairs and level 7 for you to build rain barrels, all of which are necessary for you to put in some sort of exterior water reclamation facility for when the water goes out. And the sooner you can get that up, the better as well. We can get by with a microwave kind of indefinitely. It's not optimal, but in order to get an oven, we need an electrical of 3, and electrical is also required to be able to hotwire vehicles. You need a mechanics of either 2 or 3 and an electrical of 1. So there's some good reasons to increase those skills, but none of those are really imperative at this point. The most important skill that you're going to want to level immediately is carpentry. The other thing we need to do is we need to find metal bars and get these windows secured as soon as possible so that zombies cannot break into our downstairs through our windows. At some point, we will put a wall around our compound, and we'll use carpentry to do that, and I'll show you how to do that. But that's not probably going to happen within the next few days. It's better to get that up and going relatively early, but not immediately. Immediate considerations are make sure we have food, check. Make sure we have a vehicle so we can go loot, also check. We have something to sleep on so our character is not exhausted. We have the TV and the radios in order to keep track of what's going on. And actually, we have 2 radios here. So I may already have one radio with the emergency broadcast system on it, and I do. It's at 89 megahertz for this particular game, so we don't have to go hunting for another one. We have the sledgehammer. The sledgehammer is necessary to do some of the demo that we're going to want to do to open this facility up. We have a certain amount of tools, but probably not all the tools we need. Oh, and I forgot to drop these books upstairs. I like to put the books upstairs and then get bookshelves to keep them and the VHS tapes and things that we find. So let's put all these things on the floor here so we're not wandering around with a full backpack. Another thing that we're going to want is a better backpack and potentially a trolley or supermarket cart or something that we can use on location here to move large quantities of things, because what I have a tendency of doing is looting, running in, dropping everything on the floor, going out and looting until about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, then coming in and spending the evening putting stuff away. So having a trolley or a cart is very helpful. And we're also going to want to go through at some point and kind of start reorganizing all of these cabinets just to make our kitchen work a bit more efficiently. But in terms of what we need immediately, I would say heading to the bookstore and getting Carpentry Book 1 is going to be important. Looking for tools, so hitting the tool shop or the hardware store is going to be important. Trying to pick up fresh food so that it doesn't go bad and we get it secured in our location is going to be important. And then getting carpentry up as soon as possible. Oh, we also need an axe. That's something that we have not been able to find. So let's go ahead and head out. And as you can see, I did move vehicles around as I said I would. I have not picked up zombies, though. It hasn't been on the critical list at the moment, so I haven't been worrying about it. And actually, before we do this, let's feed her. Almost forgot to do that. It's better if you can feed your characters a really big meal before you take them out, and then bring a bag of chips or something with you so that they won't complain that they're hungry. Let's see, do we have anything prepared? We do not, but let's eat this bagel because the bagel goes bad quickly, and then we'll also eat this piece of cake, which also goes bad quickly. And it's not a bad idea to feed your character fattening stuff in the early days of the game, because one of the problems that most characters have is their weight will have a little upside down triangle here, and that indicates that your weight is going down. If you have a right side up triangle, that indicates your weight's going up. Right now her weight is stable because she's not starving to death, and I'm trying to keep her in the satiated to well fed range. If you can get them into higher ranges of food consumption, let me see if I can get her there without stuffing her to the point of making her ill. Once you get them to a certain point, this turns a bright green. There it goes, and it says well fed. Goodness making its way through your system. The next step beyond this, if you can eat quickly enough, especially since I'm eating small things, you'll have this. See how she just dropped already? You'll have the buff quickly if you create your own food. But if you don't create your own food, it's going to take a lot of eating little things. There we go. You want stuffed. Stomach contented, health and strength aided. When you're at this level, it means that you're in peak physical condition, and if you take damage, you will recover more quickly. You can carry more, your strength is up. It's just a good little buff to have. It doesn't last long, unfortunately, but it doesn't hurt to grab it before you leave. And especially in the beginning while the power is on, you're not going to have a huge problem with finding food. You know, she gets hungry, she gets thirsty when she's out. You can stop at a sink because the water's still on. You can raid someone's fridge while you're looting their house and actually, you know, eat some cheese or veggies that you might find in their fridge or whatever. But in the beginning, if you feed them a lot of fast food and junk food, they will put on weight, but that's okay because as time goes by, they will have less and less food and they will start to lose weight. And so if you can gain weight in the beginning, they have a little bit of padding for when they start to lose weight. But don't have them gain too much weight, because if they gain too much weight, it actually affects their ability to do things. All right, so there's the bookstore. Let's take a run in here and see if we can find the carpentry books. And let's see if this is busy, because the last time I was in here, there were like 7 zombies in the bookstore, and that was a lot to take care of. But it looks like we're empty today, so that's good. Let's have a look. We got carpentry level 1. We'll take that. In the beginning, I usually will leave most of the books in place. We'll take cooking volume 1. Although, actually, no, we won't, because we actually are leveled past cooking volume 1 already. We need cooking volume 2. In the beginning, if you can keep the area clear, you can just run in and out of here anyways, so there's not much point in taking all the books. You're not going to need them. You just take the books that you need. But I do tend to loot all magazines, and I am keeping an eye out especially for the herbalist, which allows you to make poultices and things that assist you with first aid. And I'm also looking for the magazine entitled How to Use Generators, because once the power goes out, we need a generator, and if we don't, there we go, have How to Use Generators, we can't use them. So that's going to be something we're going to want to try to grab in the next couple of days as well, is a generator. You know, we want to make sure we have a power supply set up and ready to go. We have a water supply set up and ready to go. All right, so we got some books. We got some magazines and things to keep us occupied, and we got the ever important How to Use Generator manual. So that's going to be extremely useful. And was the sledgehammer in here? I know we picked up a sledgehammer. I just have no idea where it went. Did I leave it in one of the seats? I don't know. I hope it's in a bag or something. We'll have to go looking through the bags again. Alright, so this is around the area where we sometimes see the tool store. But it's difficult to tell without skimming along here because of the construction of these particular buildings. Now we've got a freeloader coming in, so let's take care of this. And at some point we're going to have to make sure we have enough backup weapons. I think we have a spare baseball bat somewhere. But one is definitely not going to be enough. We will wind up having to continuously repair the 2 that we have, which can be costly. Okay, so this is offices, and this is clothing stores. So I'm betting we're going to find the tool store back behind us on the other side, because that's like a little general store, and we might hit that today as well, depending on what we find. But I want to hit the tool store first. Alright, so there's a restaurant, and I think the tool store is up here. It's often across from the bookstore, and if it's not across from the bookstore, there it is. It's across from the coffee house. Let's see. Screws. We're definitely going to need duct tape if we're going to have to keep repairing the baseball bats, which I really don't want to do, but it looks like that's what we're going to have to do. And I think I recall us being in here, and for whatever reason, we did not find a propane torch or axes. So if we'll take Mechanics Volume 1 and Metalwork Volume 1 and these magazines while we're here. So if I'm going back over things that I've already done, then I apologize. Sometimes my memory is a little iffy, and sometimes it pays to go over things more than once. What I'd really like is for us to find metal bars too. And I would have expected them to be here. We have metal pipes and metal sheets, but no metal bars at the moment. Grab this wrench. I think we've got tools, and what we'll do is we'll grab this toolbox. A lot of times in the very beginning of my games, or in the beginning of my history of playing this game, I did not bother with picking up the things from the environment like the toolbox. I went for cabinets or things that had the most space, the most storage space, and I didn't care how things looked. And that's a great play style, but I'm finding as I continue on that I like to use some of these things now because visually I can tell this is where my tools are. This is where my storage gear is, you know, so on and so forth. Speaking of which, what is this? This looks like a convenience store. So let's go in here really quickly. Yeah, and it looks like it's got a bread stand, so let's get all the bread, because the bread and baked goods are the things that expire first. Some of the refrigerables while we're here. In order to make cake, you need milk, you need eggs, you need flour, you need some sort of sweetener, whether it's sugar or brown sugar. You need some sort of fat, whether that's butter, lard, margarine, oil. All of those things will work. Actually, let's take some condiments because we don't have any condiments. Honestly, cooking in this game is very detailed, and it's one of the things that I really enjoy about this game. It follows a logical progression that normal cooking in real life follows, which I think is brilliant. So you start with your base, you know, whatever that happens to be, whether that's your meat or your vegetables. Then you add in additional components to bulk up your recipe, whether that's more meat or cheese or vegetables or other things. And then after that, you add in your condiments and your flavorings. And that's pretty much how it works in regular cooking. So it's not a difficult thing to remember. It's not a stretch for the imagination. It's actually pretty realistic, and it looks like we are loaded with zombies over here at, is this the pharmacy? And we've got at least one at the coffee house. No, that's an office. How many do we have here? There's at least 2 by this door. Oh, no, I'm wrong. There's only 1. But there is one back here. We'll get rid of this one. I like to go through and leave doors open, because that way zombies will find their way out of the building. They tend to be motivated to leave and go find prey or food or whatever you want to call what zombies go looking for, victims. And because of that, if you leave doors open, they are typically motivated to exit, whereas they're not typically motivated to actually enter buildings unless a player is in them. So these guys are going to break out eventually, which is fine. They'll probably be on the street the next time I come out. So I don't want to overload myself too much, but I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to grab some of this produce that we've got laying around so we can get especially the mangoes tend to go bad very quickly. Mangoes and cherries. So if you can grab those early on, those don't last for very long. Now, it is a possibility that because I'm in this building, if they break out of the buildings across the street, they'll try to come in here and come after me, but that's okay. Alright, so we were unsuccessful in finding axes. And we were unsuccessful in finding a propane torch, I think. I don't remember us finding them yesterday. Although we did find a sledgehammer. Anybody got any good weapons? It'd be nice if one of you guys was carrying a spare baseball bat or something. It doesn't look like it. Okay. So I think what we'll do, well, first of all, I think I'm in the wrong seat. Yep, I am. There we go. Is we will start patrolling the neighborhood for the fire truck. Because we need axes. We can't do any wood cutting, and there are several things that can be made, like spare baseball bats, that require us to have axes. Oh, and one thing that I do want to do is check this bakery. Because the bakery will... the food at the bakery will rot quickly because we've got a lot of baked goods in here. And it looks like I am out of carrying capacity, so we're going to say a prayer that the rest of this cake is light. And I know there's stuff over here. I'm tempted to not go get it though, because I can almost guarantee I'm going to open this door and there's going to be a zombie there. But let's put some of this stuff in the trunk and we'll see. And it looks like we ran out of room in the trunk. Well, we're having a good food raid. Still no axes. No trolley. And we've checked Gigamart and we've checked the tool store. So those are the two main places where I would expect to find them. So the next thing we're going to do is probably go around the neighborhood looking for the fire truck in the hopes that we will find the fire truck with an axe or other equipment in it. And then after that, I'm not really sure what our best practice is going to be. Maybe just search houses or something. I hate to do that, but... Also, it always pays to check ovens because occasionally you'll find food in the oven that has been prepared. Let's take these guys so we have more cooking containers, more mugs. No, we don't need a dish towel. We only need a couple of dish towels. We can come back for drinks. Oh, what's going on back here? Let's Speaking of drinks, she's thirsty. Let's get a drink. Okay. And we'll clear out this fridge because there's a lot of meat there. Hopefully we haven't overloaded the one fridge we've got. It's possible that we have, and we'll have to come out and get another fridge, but better to have too much food than not enough. Once I have a lot of bread, a lot of times you can find ham in people's houses, and that leaves you with a pretty much endless supply of sandwiches. And actually you can also find bologna and salami now. In the beginning you could only find ham, but now you can find bologna and salami as well, and that's, in my opinion, really great. I'm going to take these earbuds because we can either use them or break them down. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to take her back to the safe house. I'm going to unload all of these goods, and then I will see you in the next episode where we are going to start heading around town. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to start raiding garages, looking for the generator, looking for the propane torch, trying to find axes. Also, sometimes we can get lucky and we can find the antique stove, which is going to be necessary as winter comes quickly in this game, so the sooner we can find that, the better. And also we'll be looking for the fire truck. So I will see you in the next episode. Have a great day. Take care.